Hello there. I am Leah Wilson-Felis, and this is a beginner yoga class for Yoga Studio Satya. So find your way onto your yoga mat, and we'll start seated today. Feel free to use any props that you might need. I always use a blanket because I have a bony butt, and my knees always kind of are a little sore on the ground sometimes, so I like to have some cushion on the ground near me. But feel free to use a block or any pillows. Make yourself a throne if you would like to sit up nice and tall. And you can sit up however you would like. So legs can be crisscrossed like this, but they don't need to be. So if that's uncomfortable for your knees or your hips, then feel free to extend legs or both legs one at a time if you'd like. It's totally your choice. So feel free to switch your seat all the time as we're sitting here, because I know for some of you, our body isn't used to sitting like this. And so this is just part of getting started and part of getting your body used to sitting like this and just being in our body and feeling everything that we are feeling. So that's what we're going to kind of do today, is as we work through the postures, we're going to just tune into how the body feels. And you kind of have to ask yourself throughout the practice, is this healing me or is this hurting me? And if the answer is it's hurting you, then it's not benefiting you in a positive way. So we need to change something. So let's do a little moving mudra. Mudras are hand positions that you see in yoga. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to start on the thumb to index. And with each breath, we're going to move down a finger. And then we'll start back at the index finger again. And we'll do it 3 times. So it'll end up being 12 breaths. So we'll connect our thumb to our index finger. And if you want to, you can close your eyes or just lower your gaze, your sight down to the floor and find a spot. And let's take a deep breath, just connecting those fingers. And pause your breath after the exhale and move your thumb to your middle finger. And let's do it again. Deep breath. And then again, we'll just move that thumb to the ring fingertip and take another deep breath. Once more, we'll move that thumb to the little finger, the pinky finger, and take that deep breath. This time we'll move our thumb back to the index finger, and we'll go through all of our fingers again. Feel free to just breathe and move at your own pace. Slowing the breath down. Noticing how your body's feeling. Noticing discomfort. Noticing contentment. Feeling free to make any changes that you need to in your body at any time to accommodate for comfort. Just know that the more that we practice, the easier it becomes. So don't give up on yourself. No shame, no judgment. We'll go through a 3rd time. So after you've completed those fingers, we'll go through one last 3rd time. Perhaps starting to set a mindful intention for your practice, somewhat like a dedication, a prayer perhaps for this next hour. Let us stay mindful to the sensations of our body, mindful of our breath. After your 3 rounds of mudra are complete, just open your palms up, and that's where we'll meet. We'll start to move our arms from here, creating something called vinyasa. Vinyasa means one breath matches one movement. So as you inhale, we'll just scoop our arms out and maybe up over your head, and then flip your palms down and exhale back down to your lap. So if you need to close your eyes to match your breath, feel free to do that. We'll inhale up to the sky and exhale, floating back down. Nice job. Last time here. Nice job. Now let's sweep our arms out this time and do them out to the side, different motion. Inhaling out and up over your head, maybe even looking up. And then exhaling and looking down as the arms fly back down to the ground. Again, when you're ready, we'll do 3 times total. Just starting to become aware. How are your arms feeling? How are those ribs feeling today? Are you feeling any crunches in there? My right shoulder's always really crunchy, so it's like pop, pop on the way up and back down. Go ahead and ground those fingers. If you're okay sitting like this, you can feel free to stay like this. But if you'd like to, and you need to, extend your legs out long so that your legs have a little bit of a break. So you have a choice, this, or really anything else that your mind can come up with that you're comfortable in. So your choice, yogi's choice. So what we want to do is ground those fingers, whether you're crisscrossed or straight-legged. We're going to drop into our right hand, and the left hand will sweep up to the sky. Now from there, what tends to happen is we tend to sink into that shoulder, and instead of doing that, we want to bend our elbow to keep that shoulder down from our ear. Keep your left sit bone grounded and reach. Take a breath. Nice, take another breath. And on our third breath in, we'll bring ourselves back to center. So let's take a moment. You can kind of feel some heat over there. We're going to go to the other side. So drop that left hand down, right hand reaches up. We want to bend into that left elbow so that our shoulder doesn't come by our ear. We're grounded through the right hip as we reach away from it. Don't forget to breathe. Nice job. Now we're all at different levels in here, so we kind of have to lower the gaze sometimes so that we're not comparing ourselves to others. Inhale back to center. Now change your legs, maybe if they're crisscross, maybe crisscross them the other way. If they're straight, maybe just keep them that way so that your hips stay comfortable. And we're going to do it again. So right hand might slide out, left hand reaches up and over. Move slow so that your body stops when you need to. We don't want to feel pain in yoga. It might be a little uncomfortable, but it's nothing we can't breathe through. Last breath. And with an inhale, we'll fan it up and move right on over to the other side. Move slow so that your body has time to recognize where your end feel is. That's where your body just stops because of tension holding you. And remember to take those deep breaths. That's the key. Oxygenates the blood. The blood moves through the muscles. And as we stretch, we get more oxygen to those muscles. Inhaling back to center when you're ready. Now for this next one, I am going to extend my legs out and give my legs a little bit of a break. Now when our legs are straight, we don't want our big toes to be touching. We want a little bit of space because we're lining our toes up with our hips. So once again, we're going to do the same thing, but with legs straight, and we're going to do this washing of our spine. It's like a scrubbing. So let's just try it out. The right hand again reaches out, left hand over top, making sure that left butt bone stays on the ground. With an inhale, you want to squeeze those shoulder blades back, look up. And with an exhale, you want to round over. Here in studio, you'll reach towards the windows. Inhale, left arm opens. And exhale, we kind of close the heart, round the back. One more time. You can feel that in the waist, in the ribs, armpit a little bit. Notice where you feel it. We'll come back up to the sky. I kind of pretend like I'm reaching up for a rope. It's going to pull me up to center. I'll take a moment to notice that heat because it feels different now on each side. And then we'll go to the left side, left hand, right hip grounds, right hand reaches over. Remember, we don't want that shoulder to come up by our ear. When you are ready, we'll inhale and open the chest. And with an exhale, we round and reach over towards the mirror, towards the left. Inhale, open. So move with your breath. Exhaling to round. Last one. Of course, you can do more if you want, and you can do less if you need to. Come back to center, reaching that right hand up and pull yourself back up to center. Nice job. Side bodies are nice and warm now. Let's move into the back. Sweep those hands up to the sky, reach up for ropes, and then pull those ropes down to your shins or your ankles or your toes. Nice. Round your back here if that feels good. Some people think it feels better with a straight spine. So you could do both. You could try a little bit of both and see which one works for you. Now in this pose, we want to try to keep our toes pointed up to the ceiling, because if we let our legs round out, we're now getting a stretch in the external hamstrings. And we want to focus on the ones right on the back of the knee. So for that, the toes need to be pointed up, but we will go there, I promise. See if you can take one last breath here. Nice job. And we'll start to roll up and we will adjust our feet, and we want to create a diamond here. So I want to bring my heels together, and that's where our knees can start to turn out, and we will start to feel that stretch outer knee, outer hamstring. So sit up nice and tall, reach for your feet. I feel pretty lucky that I can reach my feet, but I think it's because my arms are really long. So I feel that outer knee, outer thigh. Is that where you feel it? Okay, some of us are different, you know, some of us are holding more tension inner thigh, so it's like, well, that's where you're gonna feel it, is where you need it, where you're holding the most tension. Now, I like to rock a little bit in these postures because with anatomy, your low back sits right on top of your pelvis, and there's lots of ligaments holding that together, and this is gonna help stretch all that connective tissue around those ligaments. Nice job. When you've had enough, you can stop and come back to center, and it might be before I'm done cueing you to do the move. So that's part of listening to your own body. I'm going to just roll myself, walk myself back up. I might extend my legs and wiggle them out, do some window wipers here. Nice. Keep those toes pointed straight up once again. You can either slide down your legs or sweep up first. Big inhale. And then rounding over and reaching for ankles, shins, toes. And again, it's your choice, straight back or rounded back. They're going to feel different. Nice job. Now let's start to roll up again, inhaling to bring ourselves to seated. We're going to come into our best expression of Baddha Konasana, which is bound angle position. It's like butterfly legs. So we have our knees out, feet together, and it's okay if your knees are way up here. There's nothing wrong with that. We have to kind of close our gaze off to the world around us in some of our poses so that we're not comparing ourselves. Sit up nice and tall, relax those shoulders down, and we're going to start to lean into that posture. Heart reaches towards the feet. Now again, rounded back is fine. Straight back is fine too. Awesome. And again, you can lean from side to side if you would like to, and that kind of carves out your hips and carves out your lower back. Yeah, great job. And remember, these postures are held for as long as you want to hold them. So if your body's like, ooh, I don't like this one, you can come out of it at any time. And just roll up out of it and straighten your legs and give yourself that grace to come to a position that better suits your body. So come on up when you are ready. We'll kick those legs out once again and wiggle out those knees. Hips are getting a bit more loose here, so that's good. We're warming ourselves up for a little bit later as we start to kind of flow through some postures. All right, so we're going to start to add some twisting here through the core and through the hips. With legs straight, we'll take our left hand over to the outer right knee or to the ground over there on the right side, outer thigh. It's up to you. Right hand slides to the back of the mat. We'll take a big inhale, reaching up to the sky with the top of our head, shoulders relax down. And maybe you start to add that little bit of a twist, looking over your right shoulder. So I'm creating a pressure on my outer right thigh with my left hand. Yeah. Now, if you look down at your feet, it's going to look like your right leg is a little shorter as you're twisting. Yeah. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, add a little bit more. It's like you're wringing out a washcloth. Now let's come on over to the other side. The left hand will just swing back over to the left. Right hand comes over to the opposite side. Move slow so that your spine understands this twist. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, add your twist. Remember, we don't want yoga to hurt. Inhale again. And exhale, add that twist, maybe looking over your shoulder. If you're looking down at your feet, it might appear as though your left leg's shorter. Nice job. Unwind when you're ready, coming back to center and sweeping the right hand back. So both hands are going to be back behind us. You can have your fingers facing out, back, forward. It's up to you, whichever angle feels best on the ground behind you. Now let's bend our elbows a couple times so that we know what locked is, because we don't want any of our joints to completely hyperextend. We want to keep it a little bit bouncy. We'll squeeze those shoulder blades back, trying to squeeze a little pencil between the shoulder blades, looking up perhaps, if that feels okay for your neck. There's quite a bit of pressure on the hands here. Nice job. With an inhale, feel your belly expand and reach for your toes. Nice. We'll bring ourselves back up to center, and we're going to give ourselves a big hug. And it doesn't matter which arm comes on top, because we're going to do both sides. I did my right elbow on top, and I want to try to pull my shoulder blades forward and press my bottom ribs out towards the back of the room. And then we'll inhale, big, open the chest, squeeze those shoulder blades back, and then exhale for the other arm on top. Take a couple breaths while you're there, just pulling your shoulder blades forward, rounding your back. Nice job. Let's do it again, but a little bit quicker here. Robin's breath. Inhale, opening your wings. Exhale, other arm on top. Inhale, open those wings. Exhale, other arm on top. Nice. One more on each side. Awesome. Open those wings up. We'll drop our hands down. Again, seat of your choice, yogi's choice. So straight legs is fine. If you'd like to crisscross your legs, you can come back to this pose. Your choice here. So if you're comfy where you are, just stay there. We're going to work our neck a little bit, because that's like the one area we haven't really stretched yet. So I always like to start with my fingers down on the ground, kind of grounding, earthing, if you will. Shoulders relax down. Head reaching up, but also pulling my head kind of back so that my ears are in alignment with my shoulders. Yeah. And then we'll just tilt to the right, tilt to the left. We're going to go both ways. As I tilt to the right, I really feel it down in the top of my left shoulder. And then I'm just going to bring my head to center slow and go to the left so that I feel it on the right side. And you can move faster than me or slower than me. Honor your body, your needs at this time. Inhaling back to center and relaxing your head towards the opposite side. Keeping those fingers grounded, shoulder down if possible. One more to the other side. Keep it even. And back to center. This time we're going to just draw chin to chest. Again, try to keep those shoulders back and down. And from here, we'll lift our fingers, interlace the fingers, and bring them to the back of the head. Adding a gentle weight of your hands on the back of your head. Yeah. I'm like, hold on, weight of your head. No, weight of your hands on your head. And then your elbows kind of can just round and relax on either side of your face. So this is called manual neck traction, and you're creating space between each of the vertebrae in the back of your neck. Start to open your wings, your elbows, push your head back into your hands, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then we're going to go the opposite way. So that means the hands are going to relax And instead of looking up right away, I'm going to bring my hands onto the skin of my chest. So if you have a like turtleneck, you'll have to bring that down and put skin to skin, hands on your chest, and let gravity kind of pull that tissue down so that you're just kind of hanging that chest skin down. And then we're going to start to look up, and it becomes difficult to look up because you're pulling on that fascia and that connective tissue in your throat. Your mouth might open a little bit, stretching all that fascia, connective tissue. Nice job. Bringing your head back to center when you're ready, and then releasing your hands down. Nice. So that fascia sheath is called platysma, and it's fun to say, so I remember it. Let's come to hands and knees here. If you need some water and have some water by you, you can grab some. So hands and knees, it's called tabletop position. I always use a blanket or a pillow underneath my knees at this point. And so in tabletop, you've got options like you always do. Fingers can be spread. You could make fists on the ground if that works better for you. You can switch between them. At any time, you can also drop down onto elbows if your wrist just can't handle it right now. And you can always take a break in child's pose like so. Or on your belly if that feels good. So from our tabletop pose, we'll try some traditional cats and cows. We want to drop our belly towards the floor and look forward. That's called cow. And then we'll round our spine up towards the ceiling, look back at the thighs, and that's cat. Inhale for cow, traditionally, and exhale for cat. But you can totally reverse that breath if it feels more natural for you the opposite way. Inhaling cow and exhaling cat is the traditional, but sometimes it feels nice to switch it up. How's that feel in the shoulders and the wrists, in your spine, hips, knees? Just tuning in. And even if the answer is like it's kind of uncomfortable, can you sit with that discomfort? And if the answer is no, then we have to make a change. Come back to center. Add some dog wags, rocking the hips from side to side. Feels pretty good on the side of the hips and thighs. We're stretching the iliotibial band from knee to hip, and also glute medius, glute minimus, a little bit of glute max too. Awesome job. All right, we'll stretch our shoulders first and then our hips second. So from tabletop pose, we'll just walk our hands forward. I like to drop onto my elbows. I have to separate my knees a bit further, and I'm pushing into puppy pose. So it's like a playful puppy. My knees are stacked above or stacked below my hips. So I'm still kind of having that tabletop hips, but I drop my chest, and I really feel that through my chest and shoulders. If you're a more advanced yogi, feel free to rotate your palms externally towards the ceiling, and that's going to really open up those shoulders. But again, if you're just beginning the practice, that might be a little bit too much, and we don't want to do too much. We want to play Goldilocks here. Not too much, not too little, just right. When you've had enough, pull yourself, push yourself up onto your elbows, up onto your palms. That's called a commando, that move right there from elbows to palms. If you do 20 of those, you'll get super strong shoulders. Anywho, we're back here at our tabletop posture. And now we're going to stretch our hips by coming into extended cat. So I need to open my knees up there. I need to reach back through the tailbone. Some of you will be able to drop the hips down towards the heels there. So again, it's kind of like, what does your body like? Do your knees like that flexion? Because if the answer is no, then you might not want to go that deep. So we just do the best we can for what our body allows. And I imagine that my low back and my hips are kind of stretching out and spreading. It's called extended cat pose. So if you have a cat, you might have seen them do this. Also your dog. All right, let's roll back up, maybe to the elbows or the palms. Tabletop posture once again. Now let's get a little bit of movement in our legs. So we're going to do an active cat right leg. So with the inhale, we lift our right leg as high back behind us as we can. Your knee can stay bent or your leg can be straight, your choice. And then we'll round our back and bring our knee towards our elbow. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, look up, and exhale, round the back. Last time. Nice height, looks great. And then we'll drop that right knee down and try 3 on the left too. So we'll inhale and reach that left heel and toe high. And then exhale, round the back, tap the elbow with the knee perhaps. We'll try it 2 more times. Nice job, looks good. Nice control in that movement. All right, I've done my 3 here. So let me check my time here. We're doing great. We're right where I need to be. Planned it well, but I didn't plan anything actually. So let's go into our first downward facing dog, but we're not going to stay there long. Just tuck your toes under and push into your hands and reach your hips up towards the ceiling. Look back at your toes as you do that. Your hands are strong, your arms are strong. And from there, we'll start to either walk forward with your feet or walk back with your hands, or a combination of both, so that you end up coming into a forward fold of sorts. And you don't have to touch the ground for a forward fold. You can just kind of bend your knees, because when we bend our knees, that protects our lower back. I try to focus on getting my belly on my thighs or through my thighs. And then I want my hands to just kind of drape down. And that's a nice spreading of your lower back. So anytime you're in a standing forward fold, knees bent is totally always permitted. In fact, knees should stay soft all the time. Can you take a breath here? Sweep your arms out, push through your feet and start to uncurl your body nice and slow, so that as you rise up, you don't get dizzy. Maybe you'll sweep your hands up to the sky. And let's bring the hands right down into the heart center. A great place to come back to again and again, to kind of check back in with your body. I'm gonna step my feet a little closer together, get my hair out of my mouth, you know, all that stuff. Just close if you need to. And I like to step forward to the top of my mat. The reason why is that if I'm way back here and I do my forward fold and I step my foot back, I'm off my mat. So I'm going to step forward a little bit so that I've got lots of space to step back onto my mat. So that's kind of what we're going to do, but we'll do it much slower than that. So hands at heart center. Remember back to when we began and we were breathing with our fingers, and perhaps we set an intention of some kind. So see if you can recall that intention. Maybe it was a prayer. Inhale, hands together. Exhale, hands will come down to the side. We practiced this earlier. Sweep your arms out with an inhale, looking up. And as you exhale and float your hands back down, we're going to bend our knees, separate the feet, and round over bent legs, reaching towards the floor. If you can't reach the floor, a block comes in really handy here. And blocks have multiple heights. So use a block, use a phone book at home if you have one. Keeping your knees bent, we want to just lengthen one leg at a time. So all I'm going to do is try to lengthen my right leg, but my hamstring's really tight. And then I'm going to bend it again so that both knees are bent. And then I'm just going to try to straighten my left leg. And then I'll bend it again. Give it a break. Let's do it again on each side. I inhale to lengthen my right leg just as far as I can. Exhale, bend both knees. Inhale, left leg. Nice. And then we'll exhale and bend both knees. One more on each side. Right leg. And left. Nice. Bending both knees here. We'll lift our hands and walk them up to our shins. Lengthen your legs, lengthen your arms, lengthen your spine. I always will say, pretend like someone is grabbing onto your head and pulling it in front, and someone else is pulling back on your hips so that your spine is being stretched in both directions. One last breath right here. As you exhale, bend through your knees and get your fingertips onto the floor. Step one foot back, your choice of which one. And then we'll do the other foot once your hands get settled on the ground. So we're stepping into a downward facing dog position. Hands pushing through the mat, heels lifted, knees soft, and perhaps you want to pedal your feet out here, stretching into your calf muscles. Now, if your wrists and your arms, your shoulders are suffering here, then don't feel like you need to stay here forever. You can always drop down to the knees if need be. From here, I'm going to look from my toes to my hands, and as I do that, my body just naturally wants to come forward. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come into plank. And a plank can be on your toes. Beginners, you can be on your knees. There's nothing wrong with that. Keeping those toes tucked. If you are off your knees or on your knees, it's both tucked, and we're going to lower ourselves down. Belly to the floor, chest to the floor. Adjust your body if need be, and then we'll untuck the toes and drop the tops of the feet into the mat. Squeeze those elbows back and look forward. You can feel your lower back starting to engage there. So if it's too much, of course, we don't want to push past that at all. But if you feel like you could, feel free to peel up a little bit if you want to. See what you can handle in the back today, right now. Lower back down when you're ready. We're going to do a chest stretch here. So I'm going to turn forward, but I don't want to kick any gongs. So, okay. So here we are. We're here, and we're going to start to peel ourselves onto we're going to reach our left hand out first. Left hand reaches out, and we're going to roll onto that left side by pushing into our right hand. Nice job. That looks great. Yes. I love your modification. And then we're going to go the other way. So if need be, if it isn't comfortable on the belly, you might have to rise up, extend the right hand out, and we're going to drop that shoulder down and peel ourselves up by pushing into that left hand this time. Yeah, so you can feel that in the chest. You can let your head drop down if that feels better for you. Your choice. You got to find what works for you. Nice job. And again, some of us are going to just roll onto our belly. For some of us, that's not possible, or it doesn't feel good. So if you need to, you can peel yourself right back up. We're going to come up onto hands and knees. So figure out how you can push up onto your knees, separate those knees, round your back, and press back into your child's pose. Now, if you were a person that preferred the puppy pose like this, you could do puppy pose instead. Child's pose is just another option. And anywhere in between those two extremes, puppy or child's, you can find that space too. So you got to just find the right spot for you. Goldilocks, you know, not too much, not too little, just right for your body. See if you can come back to your breath here, breathing in really deep and breathing out nice and slow and soft. Inhaling when you're ready, back to center, tabletop position, kind of like where we began with this sequence. We'll tuck our toes under once again. Press into the hands, press into the toes, look back at those toes, maybe pedal them out a couple times to check in with those calves, see how your calf muscles are feeling so far. Mine are pretty tight today. You might even wag your tail a little bit as you're there. And when you are ready, just simply looking towards your hands, walking towards them, or walking your hands back towards your feet. Any combination of that is great. We just want to end up in a pose where we're kind of rounded over, knees are bent, feet are maybe separated here. Nice job. I know this is not comfortable for all of us. So whenever you are ready to rise up, sweep your arms out like a bird. Press through the feet and slowly, slowly roll up. As we rise up, some of us might get a little dizzy, so you got to kind of catch your balance if you need to. We'll meet with our hands at our heart center. And then I always readjust. I usually walk my feet a little bit closer together so that all 10 toes are facing forward, my shoulders are back, stacked over my hips, and also my head is pulled back so that my ears are stacked over the shoulders. Again, let's inhale right here. Remember your prayer. Remember your intention, your dedication. We're going to add some lunges here, work on some balance in these sun salutations. So again, we'll press our hands together, big inhale at the heart. Exhale, hands come down to the sides, mountain position. Inhale, reaching up to the sky. It's called upward salute. Exhale, bend through your knees. That protects your back. Round over, reaching for the ground. Even if you don't reach it, that's called Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. With an inhale, we'll lift halfway, hands to the shins. This is where we pretend like someone is grabbing onto our head and pulling forward, someone else on the hips pulling back, lengthen the spine. Don't forget to breathe, multiple breaths. Inhale, exhale, back down into your forward fold. Here's where we're going to add our first lunge. Keep your right leg where it is, so right foot just stays put. The left foot, we're going to try to step it back as far towards the back of the mat as we can, with your heel lifted. All right, here's where our balance comes in. We're going to start to push away from the ground and up to the top of our right knee. So that's kind of step one, is top of right knee, and it's hard. So find a drishti. It means focal point. And focal point might be like a little knot on the floor. It might be the front corner of your yoga mat, typically not a person. We have lots of gongs, so the center of a gong works really well for a drishti or focal point. Feel free to stay right here. Those around you might be moving though, so ground those feet. Hands may lift up to the heart. That's core strength right there. And if you can still go a bit higher, we will reach the hands up to the sky. So if that back left heel needs to come down, the toes will face out towards a 45. If they're at a 90 degree, you're in a different position. We want to be facing towards the front of our mat. Nice job. We're going to add a twist from here. Hands come down to the heart. Left hand to the right knee. If that feels safe and you can go further, maybe that right hand will sweep behind you. So we're going to be facing the windows here. Opposite twist. Left hand, right knee. Right hand reaches back. Nice job. We're going to go the opposite way here. So that means right hand to the right knee, left hand reaches out, and your back left heel is going to drop down to the floor so that here in studio, your toes are facing the mirror. Opening that left arm wide towards the back of the room. Right knee still bent. And if that feels okay, right hand can lift into your warrior two. Nice job. Hips are getting stronger. All right, we're going to do this fun windmill. Right hand comes down first, then the left heel comes up, and we're here in this lunge over top our right foot. Push back into your downward dog. So hands to the ground, step your right foot back, and you're going to be like, thank God. Feels so much better after that big lunge. The legs getting strong here. Pedal out those heels. If you need, let's take a break in child's pose. So that means you can roll down to the hands and knees and untuck your toes and slide back into either child's or maybe a puppy pose. And see how quickly you can come back to the focus of your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Remembering that intention, that dedication, that prayer. Great job. With your next inhale, let's roll ourselves up back to our tabletop. We have to do all that stuff on the other side. So let's get back to the beginning. Tuck your toes, press up off your knees, and we'll start to walk forward with our feet or walk back with your hands. So we're coming to that forward fold. We'll start the other side from here. So walk forward enough to where when you step your right foot back, you'll be on your mat. So left foot stays put. Right foot's going to step as far back as you can. We'll get our bearings right here in this lunge. So I have my right heel lifted and my left toes are facing forward as well. If you'd like to get some height in this pose, you can start to push up and use your balance onto that left foot, onto that left knee. So you're going to start to walk your hands towards the top of the left knee if you want to get a little higher away from the ground. Feel free to stay right here the whole time. If you're going for a challenge today, hands can lift to the heart center. You're going to have to use that balance. And if you still want more height, the hands can reach up to the sky. It's hard. It's not easy. If anyone told you that it was, they've never done yoga. Nice job. We'll drop those hands back down to the heart. These legs are getting strong. It's right hand to the left knee. If that feels okay, the left hand can reach out towards the mirror here in studio and then start to reach back towards the back wall. Nice. So that is a high lunge twist, a crescent lunge twist. We're going to go the opposite way. So go ahead and just bring your left hand to the top of your left knee. The right hand is going to start to sweep out. And what do we have to do to get into Warrior 2 is we have to drop that back right heel down so that now your toes are facing towards the window. If that feels okay and you want the full posture, you can lift that front hand into your Warrior 2. Looks really good. You are surfing. That's what it is in English, surfer pose, Warrior 2. Nice job. Here's our fun windmill. It's left hand down, then the right hand down, and I'm like, I can't reach. So my right heel has to pop up so that I can drop down to my feet. We're going to step back with the left foot to downward facing dog because for some reason that pose feels so good now. After all that hard leg work, our legs are getting so strong. Great job holding those postures. It's a lot of control. Let's relax into our child's pose, puppy pose, untucking the toes, coming down to the knees, and we'll start to just reach back with the hips, reach up with the hips, down with the heart. Your choice of how that posture will look. We're all going to look and feel different in each posture. See if you can come back to that breath pattern. Just the simple breathing in and breathing out. Here in our child's pose or puppy pose, we'll start to walk our hands off the mat towards one direction. I'm going towards the right first, but you could go towards the left first because we're going to do both sides. So I just walk my hands over towards the right. I keep my lower body in the same shape that it was. So now I'm feeling a really intense stretch through my left armpit and left ribs as I go towards the right with my hands. So it's kind of like anchoring your hands to the right and then using your left hip bone to pull back towards the left where you get this length on the left side of the body here. Let's go towards the other side too and just see if that side's different. So I come up to hands and knees, but I'm kind of off to the right. And I'm just going to walk my hands to the left. And then when I get there, I imagine that there's something that's going to pull back on my right hip. So I lean into the right hip. And I can feel that stretch happening throughout my right arm and armpit and ribs and waist, even a little in my belly. But that probably just means I'm really tight today. Take a breath if you can. Sorry if you've been holding your breath this whole time. We'll come back up when you're ready and back to center. All right, so we're going to start to transition onto our back. So I just am going to walk my hands and knees to one side and drop my hip and then just kind of swing my legs around. Grab some water if you need to, if you have it close by. Use your blanket as a roll under your knees or a pillow, and we're going to lay back onto our back. Take your time laying back. Let your body adjust here. Haven't done any supine work yet today, laying on our back. You want to spread your arms straight out to the side. So if you're directly next to your neighbor, unless you're like super good friends with them, you might scoot down or up so that your arms aren't layered on top of theirs. But otherwise, you could hold hands with your neighbor if you want. So we'll pull our feet and knees up so that it kind of looks like they're sitting in an invisible chair. Nice job. We want to take both legs at the same rate over to the right, trying to keep your shoulders down on the ground. So the legs are going to go slowly to the right, a little twist in the back. To me, it feels great if you're like, ow, 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 then, don't go that far. Let's go to the other side so you can use the right hand to pull your legs up to center, and then we'll let both those legs go over to the left, opposite side. Trying to keep your shoulders flat on the ground if possible so that you get a nice twist through the back. Nothing that hurts though, remember that. Back to center and over to the opposite side once again when you're ready. Take a big deep breath on each side as you hang out in that position and let your body recognize the sensation that you're feeling. At some point, coming back to center, wrapping your arms around the knees or the shins, and just squeezing the knees in towards the chest. The knees can go out. The knees can stay stacked inward. It's up to you. You've got to find what works for you. And I like to just rock to the right, to the left, so that it's like massaging my lower back around my spine from side to side into the floor. We'll move both of our hands over to the right knee, and I like to interlace my fingers on top of that right knee. And I'm going to just kind of shoot my left foot down onto the ground, onto my yoga mat. And I'm going to just do a couple circles with just the right knee, both directions. Awesome. Here's your brain yoga for the day, okay? So you've got your right knee, and you're going to grab it with just your left hand. Your right hand can tee out towards the windows here in studio. Use your left hand to guide that right knee towards the left, towards the mirror. Yeah. So it's a little bit bigger of a twist than what we did the last couple times with just one leg being pulled over. But remember, we don't want it to hurt. So if it doesn't suit your body, you need to let go, then let's do that. Let's come back to center. We are going to do that on the other side. So pull both knees back up into your chest. Move both hands over to the left knee and shoot your right leg down onto the ground, and we'll massage our left knee and hip into the joint a couple times, circular motions in each direction. Nice job. So this is the opposite side twist. We've got our left knee pulled up towards our chest. So you're going to use your right hand on that knee. Left hand will reach out, teed out towards the mirror here in class, and then we'll use that right hand to twist the left leg over towards the right. Beautiful job. And whenever you've had enough, you just bring yourself back to center. And if it would feel good to pull both knees back in, you can. If it would feel good to lay both legs out, you can. Or you can just have your feet flat with your knees bent. And I like to add some window wipers here to start to create a nice like rhythm in my body. Rocking the knees, window wiping the knees from side to side. We're going to just slow down here and find a couple moments of stillness. So if it would feel good to stay with your feet flat and your knees bent, you can. You can lay flat on the ground if you'd like. You can continuously move through this time if you would like, but please do so quietly so as not to disturb your neighbor. In that way, we're practicing something called asteya, which means non-stealing. As we come back to just our breath and our body, and we just lay here for a couple moments, start to tune in to how it is that you feel right now. Remember back an hour ago to how you were feeling right before class. If your body was feeling a certain way, the mind was feeling a certain way. See how you've changed, how change is possible in just 1 hour. Use your mind, your mind's eye, your imagination to imagine a glow around your body, like an aura, whatever color you'd like. I like gold, so I always choose a golden light that surrounds my body. You will hear 3 sounds. As you hear each sound, breathe in and pull that light into your body. Let it cleanse you. And as the sound reverberates off of itself and slows, exhale. And let everything go as the sound purifies you, the light purifies you, and we can let go of what no longer serves us. I'll guide you through the first sound. Inhale. And exhale. Let it go. Continue to breathe and know that that aura, that light is always around you. It's always there to heal you. So breathe it in whenever you need. We'll start to move our body once again by just wiggling toes and fingers. Start small. And if you're like, I don't want to move yet, then you don't have to. You can just stay where you are as long as you need. Rolling out the hands, rolling out the ankles perhaps. I like to add one more big full body stretch by reaching my hands as high up over my head as I can, laying down and pointing my toes down towards the ground and down towards the bottom of my mat and just stretching. We call it a good morning stretch. And then relaxing and perhaps choosing a side to roll to if you want to. If you'd like to just stay laying, you can. And some people skip rolling to a side and just roll right up to a seated position. So that is all your choice. There's so many options here in yoga, so we've got a lot of choices to make for ourselves. Starting to just come back into reality, step off the mat here in a couple moments and learn to take what we've learned here on the mat and apply it to our life off the mat. How to breathe, how to stay conscious and mindful of that breath, especially during challenging times. How to stay grounded, how to come back to your intentions, your dedications, your devotions. And let's take a moment for gratitude. This body, it's so capable, getting stronger, getting more flexible, it's getting better. Thank you for showing up today. The mind for getting you here today. And thank you for allowing me to be your guide today. In yoga, we say this word, and it's namaste, and that means that there's this supreme sweetness, this divine light inside of you, and that same sweetness and light is inside of me and each living being, each one of us. And so we recognize that we are one. Thank you. Namaste. And shukriya, that means thank you.